All right, people, what the hell is going on? It is, I don't even know what this, it is extra late, early morning, whatever you want to call it. I'm a little bit uh, late to the party on this one here, but of course, with movies like this, I had to uh, wait till it started streaming before I could actually see it and get anything out of it. It's not like the big action movies and shit like that. So I skipped this when it was in the theaters, and of course we're talking about Sinners. So I'm just now seeing it, and of course all the hoopla and all that other stuff is, you know, it was back when the movie first came out and people went and seen it. And of course, it's one of those movies that everybody likes because I saw the movie. I watched it here on HBO Max here at the house. Still couldn't make out a whole bunch of it. A lot of the movie, the latter parts are shot in the dark, which I have a problem with. You know, not I have a problem. I can't see dim light. So, yeah. So that's another thing why I didn't bother even seeing it at the movie theater. It's easier for me to see on the TV, but I saw it. I watched the movie, and I can't really say too much bad shit about the movie, but I also could be like, it's one of those movies to where it's a lot in it, but everything that they trying to do in that movie gonna go right the fuck over my head. I'm just one of those people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that observant when it comes to shit like that. I'm just not. And I realize that my goddamn self, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of shit just gonna go right over my head. I'm not gonna really get what the movie is trying to say or do until after I've watched the movie, and then I go watch a review or a breakdown of the movie and stuff like that. Because after I watch the breakdown and the movie reviews of all these other talking heads that do movie reviews and breakdowns and shit like that, it's just okay. That's what they do. But I'm like, I know goddamn well you didn't sit through that movie and get all that information you just spit out about this movie just from sitting down watching. There's just certain shit in that movie, unless you some kind of weird historian, you not just gonna pick that up out just watching the movie. You have to go behind the scenes or watch some interviews from the film crew and the producers and the directors and all that shit, and get some information from them about what's going on in the movie. Because it ain't no goddamn way. I don't see it. Everybody, I ain't saying everybody's as dense as I am, but I'm just like, So I'm watching it, and this is totally blind. I didn't know what kind of movies. I just knew it was a movie named Sinners coming out. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know what it was about. And the only thing I know is that everybody, it got, it got good reviews from people. Not reviews that I've seen or anything. I just know that it was one of those movies that just like I ain't seen nobody trashing the movie. I haven't. At this point, I haven't. It's probably some out there. You know, you go on YouTube, you gonna find it. Somebody gonna be trashing the movie for whatever the fuck reason, just whatever. But I watched it and I'm like, okay, let's get in here, because I get to watch a movie. I get to watch some shit that's new to me that I don't know nothing about, and blah blah blah. So everything new. And like I say, it's somewhat of a period piece. So it's set in the 1930s or some shit, blah blah blah. Yeah, whatever. You know, that's not neither here nor there. my brain kind of shuts off when it's like religious stuff in movies. That's just me. So anytime there's like religious tones in movies, I'm just like, oh shit, that's you know what I'm saying? I'm not a religious person, and a lot of times when I see religious, if something got a bunch of religious tone or it's about religion or something like that, I just lose fucking interest in it. But luckily, the movie didn't go. It went in that direction, but not just all the way in that direction. You know what I'm saying? It didn't go straight up Exorcist like another movie I watched that I think was a Tyler Perry movie. I'm not sure. It seemed like a Tyler Perry movie. That it was like a Tyler Perry movie until like the last 30 minutes of it, and then it turned into The Exorcist. You know, so it was like a black movie. You know, with black people. We had I had that black actress in it, the one that played Precious Mama. Why I can't think of that woman's name? Just I should. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to think of her name right now. But y'all know who I'm talking about. She was in it. Now that I'm thinking about it, if she was in it, it wasn't a Tyler Perry movie. Now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't a Tyler Perry movie. It kind of was. It was like a family drama, blah 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 blah. Then all of a sudden, it turned into a fucking Exorcist movie. It's just, and this was kind of like that, but it was a little bit better. But it was a couple of things that kind of threw me off. You know, you watching the movie, like I said, I'm watching it blind. I don't know nothing about it, so I don't know what's gonna happen in this movie. I have no idea that. I'm thinking it's just gonna be this movie about this, you know, this family and blah blah blah. They got, you know, they secrets of demons or whatever in the past and blah blah blah. I had no idea that fucking vampires was gonna be in this goddamn movie. I just didn't. I didn't have no idea this is gonna be a vampire movie. And and when it got to that point, I was like, when the smoking dude hopped up on the goddamn screen and ran up into the white folks' house. He was begging them to let him in and shit like that because those Choctaw Indians was after his ass, and I'm like, if you watching the, unless you, and that's another thing. It's just because that was another thing they were discussing about in the movie. It was like, well, the Choctaw Indian thing. Oh, well, how the fuck would you know that? You know what I'm saying? How would you know that those are Choctaw Indians? If you're watching this movie, the only thing you know that they're natives. I don't even know if you're supposed to call them Indians. That they're natives. And it's kind of obvious how they talk and blah blah blah. It's kind of funny how all the natives have the same accent, no matter where they from in the U.S. You ever get that? Anytime they have Native Americans, it don't matter if they was from the Atlantic all the way across to the Pacific. All the natives have the same accent when they speak in English. That's weird. It's weird to me. But anyway, you would just like that's some stuff you pick up after the fact. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody watching this movie unless you are specifically from Mississippi or in that general area of the country where you would have knowledge of that. Like I'm from here, I'm pretty sure there were natives here in goddamn Texas or whatever. But I tell you what, I couldn't tell you no native nothing. You know what I'm saying? If they did a movie and they went back in history about this area of Southeast Texas where I'm at, and and it's like, okay, these people were here, and you had this whole scenario, and all these I had no idea that those people were here, way back there. I wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that kind of goddamn historian. I wouldn't have fucking known. I can't even act like it. But that's some information I'm like, okay, you wouldn't know that. That's something you got you know, but I mean, they make their living making those videos, so you know, man, you gonna get that information out there. But yeah, that dude goes in. They end up letting him in the house because he offered them like some coins that nobody would know what the fuck those are unless you go behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Wooden nickels and whatever you wouldn't know what the fuck that is. You watching a movie in 2025. You know, you don't know nothing about plantation currency and all that. You have no goddamn idea about none of that shit. So he ended up in the house. Choctaw people come by there, but like, is he in the house and blah, 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 blah. And they was like, nope, you know, because they didn't want to let the dude in the house, but they ended up letting him in, which is that plays a part in the rest of the movie. Well, the letting in part. And it was like he gave them a warning. And no sooner that the lady, the one that answered the door when the Choctaw people came by there, and then they went on about their goddamn business. And I don't think you hear from the Choctaw people at no other point in the movie. I don't think you do. They were hunting down that dude, so you would assume that you would run across them again in the movie, but then again, this movie takes place in a very short period of time, so there's that. It really does. It takes that movie. This movie takes place in a day, 2 days, maybe. It doesn't. It takes. It's a very short period of time. Anyway. No sooner those people go off, she turns around, go back in the house and start calling for her husband. She don't answer. So she start walking back in the house, calling for her husband. This motherfucker done already chewed up on her fucking husband. This motherfucker didn't waste no goddamn time. He got in the house. He got in the house. And just went to work on the goddamn husband while the wife was out front talking to the Indian people. And this just popped in my mind just now. I done sat here and watched all these reviews, watched the movie. It just because when the dude jumped, that vampire dude first hopped on camera, blam. When he first hopped on camera, it's like he pops in like this. Like this is his feet, and he running this way. He just and starts running like that. That's your first thing. The first thing you see is his legs and his feet, like he done jumped off some shit and started running towards the house. And he get to the house, and this motherfucker is smoking. It just real, like I said, I saw that movie about 3-4 hours ago. And it just was like. It was dawn. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it was dawn. That's why he was smoking. The sun was coming up. That shit did not click till just now, me recording this video, just right now. That's why he was smoking. I thought that the Indians that were doing that probably set his ass on fire or some shit like that. No, it was dawn when if you pay attention, it was dawn. God damn it. That shit is rattling my brain right now because that's just not popping in. I'm like, this motherfucker was smoking when he was knocking on their goddamn door. Why was he smoking? And you know, India, Indians, the natives and shit do some horrible ass shit to people. I'm thinking they probably set his ass on fire and his clothes is on fire, some shit like that. No, this motherfucker was smoking because he's a goddamn vampire, which you don't know at this time and you not paying attention to the time of day. The sun is just now coming up. The sun is just now coming up, and this motherfucker is smoking because he about to catch on fucking fire because, you know, He's a vampire or whatnot. Sunlight. So yeah, that knocked me off my train of thought because that had just popped in my head. Anywho, yeah, that's when you realize that, okay, this is a vampire movie. You know, this is a vampire movie. So at that point, I was like, all right, this is interesting. And not like interesting like everybody else that use the word interesting and don't mean shit when they say, I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. I wasn't expecting this. Like I said, I went into this blind. I had no idea. I thought this was gonna be a straight up church movie. I really did. It's a fucking vampire movie. At least some of it is. The last part of it is. And yeah, you figure out it's gonna be a vampire movie. And then you got that, and then I see the only person, well, you see Michael B. Jordan. You know, first recognizable face I see. I was like, that Michael B. Jordan? And like I said, I have problems seeing, so sometimes when it comes to watching movies and shit, I don't recognize people's faces and shit. Like that first dark skinned chick, Smoke's girl. Or Smoke's, yeah, the chick that was with Smoke. Hell, I thought that was, I can't think of people's name, man. I thought it was that dark skinned chick that played on, How to Get Away with Murder. It wouldn't make no sense for her to be playing that role because she's a little bit too old for that role for the most part. Damn, I knocked my scale over. But that's the first thing popped in my head. I was like, why I can't think of her name? I have no idea. But anyway, it's Michael B. Jordan, the first person I saw that I recognized. And he's playing two people. He's playing the twins, the Smokestack twins. One is called Smoke and the other is called Stack. Okay. And yeah, one called Smoke, one called they twins. It took me a while because I'm sitting there like, because I'm not really getting a glimpse at both of them at the same time. So I'm thinking it's two different people until they start having their separate scenes. And I'm like, I know that's Michael B. Jordan. And then, but this is the other dude. And I'm like, I know that's Michael B. Jordan. And I'm like, okay, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, because I can't trust my vision when it comes to shit like that. I'm thinking that this black chick is a whole different goddamn character. So I'm just, I'm like, maybe they cast somebody that looked like him to play his twin brother. Or look similar to him. Because you can have motherfuckers play twins that don't look alike. You can call motherfuckers twin and not look alike. I know fraternal twins. Yeah, well, I went to school. I can't say I know them. I went to school with fraternal twins. So twins don't necessarily have to look alike. Matter of fact, those two twins were not even the same skin tone. One was like light skin, lighter than me, and the other was dark skin, black in the fucker. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like they had the same facial features and all that other shit. That's about the same height and build and everything, but it wasn't like they was the same except for different colors. They were two different goddamn people. They're fraternal twins. They weren't identical. So it could have been something like that. And when I was thinking about it after I watched the movie, after I watched one of the breakdowns and shit like that, and they was like, well, yeah, he played this movie. They had a stand-in playing, because they had a stand-in playing there, and they superimposed Michael B. Jordan's face on top of the stand-in. You know what I'm saying? in some of those scenes, and they had this other little thing they had him wearing. That was, man, it was like this harness that had a whole bunch of cameras. They took like fucking 75 different pictures of his face or videos of his face all at one time all around, and it was, I'm like, that is a very, very complicated way to do that. Like, really, it is if you see, it's just like that looks overly tedious. It really does, unless it's something that they just wanted to do. I'm pretty sure the cost of them doing that effect, like the cost of them doing that effect, to basically put his face on a stand-in, you could have paid another notable actor to pay his brother. Like, for real. You could have got another name. You know what I'm saying? You could have gotten another name. You know what I'm saying? A very good notable actor, somebody people would recognize and blah, blah, blah. You know, bring in some, for that part. For what you paid to do that effect in that movie. Because that shit looked very expensive. That's why the movie budgets be high as fuck, because they want to do shit. That was like, you know, and that's not even saying nothing about the quality of the movie. I'm just like, that part was like really unnecessary. He didn't have to play two parts in this movie. He really, really didn't, because it's confusing to me, because I'm watching a movie and I'm like, I don't, you know, there's a difference between Smoke and Stack that you could probably pick up in a movie, but you ain't gonna pick up totally until you watch some extra content, you know what I'm saying, on the movie about their personalities and shit like that. It just, you know, a lot of people pick that stuff up. Me, I'm not gonna pick that shit up. I'm not gonna know the difference between Smoke and Stack until I watch some other shit and somebody tell me the difference between Smoke and Stack. You know, it seems just, you could have got somebody else to play that. The twin, Smoke or Stack. You could have got somebody else to play that and had Michael B. Jordan play the other brother instead of having him play the two characters, because it ain't like it's like I say, that's not a knock on the movie. That's a me thing right there, where I'm just like, that seems very just overly complicated to do that. I'm pretty sure they could have cut down on some production time and production costs by just hiring another actor to play that part, instead of having him play those two roles. Anyway. Yeah, so Michael B. Jordan. The next recognizable face I saw was Delroy Lindo. And this is the funny thing about Delroy Lindo. He is a recognizable face, but I ain't never really seen him in shit. Now, he's been in shit. Now, I'm not for the same, you know what I'm saying? He probably been around for a long ass time. But me, being 50 years old, you know, the type of movies that I'm watching, he wouldn't necessarily be in. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing I really know Delroy Lindo for was when he was on that little newscast trying to get that white boy to say nigga on the news. And that shit is hilarious. That is probably the best thing he's ever done in his goddamn career, because that shit was funny. He was like, say it. Say it. You know, you want to say it, say it. And that white man was like, I'm not going to say it. He was trying to make him say nigga. This is like on live broadcast. You can see motherfuckers trying to hear him and go to commercial and shit. And he was like, I can say it. I don't even know what the newscast was about, but that's what I know him from. That's what I know him from. If I've seen him in other shit, it was from a long time ago, something that I do not remember. Only movie that I know he had a show that was on Netflix for a while with some little chick where he was in prison and he got out and reunited with his daughter. I never got around to seeing that. I actually intended on watching that, but I don't watch stuff on Netflix for what, I'm not Netflix, but Hulu. For whatever reason, I don't watch shit on Hulu. Hulu is for football for me. And I pay for Disney Plus, which has Hulu, so whatever. But yeah, it's football season. I put Hulu so I can watch all my football stuff. Anyway, The only other movie, and I'm not gonna be able to think of the name of it, but I saw it on Netflix. Is him, some other black actors, and Jonathan Majors played this little young dude in there. Where there was these, I want to say Vietnam vets, but they were war veterans that had got together and reunited back in. They went back to the thing. Matter of fact, that was a movie that what's his name was in too. I ain't gonna be able to think of it. The dude that played fucking Black Panther, the one that died, he was in it too for a little bit. I don't know. I'm forgetting names and shit. I can't recall names like I used to. Anyway, that movie, which I did not like at all, and he died in that movie all fucked up. Oh goodness. Oh man, that movie is woo. That movie is something else. Anyway, bring up some goddamn PTSD watching that fucking movie. My goddamn self. I wasn't even in the military. I'm trying to see who else did I recognize in that movie. Nobody other than I think Cornbread, the dude, the big dude that was like the bouncer, the doorman at the juke joint they set up. Don't know his name, but I know I've seen him in stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him in stuff, and then everybody else is just like other actor people that I wouldn't recognize. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know. But the movie was moving along just fine. The plot does whatever it does, and the whole point of them doing whatever they was doing was to set up this juke joint. So they set it up. First thing that fucked me up. Is when old boy started singing. That part didn't fuck me up. Now, this movie has vampires, hoodoo or voodoo or whatever, which one. Somebody explain which one was which, and I can't. I think voodoo is some Americanized shit. And hoodoo is like some shit from Africa or something. I don't know, but there's some of that in this with the vampires, and along with some Celtic shit from across the goddamn water. You wouldn't know this unless you are actively involved in this, or you are watching other content outside the movie. You wouldn't know this. So you like me, you just watching the movie and shit is just happening, you just going along with it. You don't know the significance of shit. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. You don't know the significance of shit. It's just like, It's just like when you watching watching these breakdowns of the movies and they going over all this shit. And I'm like, they going over Easter eggs and all kind of other shit. All the symbolism that's in the movies and shit like that ain't nobody. You don't know this unless you get outside content. You are not noticing this shit watching the movie. If you say you do, you're a motherfucking lie. Now, certain Easter eggs and shit where they be placing shit and blah, blah, blah. But it's certain other things where they be like, yeah, they got to cross over here. You got to cross over here. And you got to cross right here. You know what I'm saying? And there's 3 crosses. That symbolizes the Son, God, Son, and the Holy Ghost, or whatever. They say the Holy Spirit, but whatever. From where I'm from, they say the Holy Ghost. And blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? People watching the movie ain't thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? They're not thinking about that. I hate when I see stuff like that, though, because it'd be like, when you actually see all the Easter eggs, all the symbolism they throw in all these movies, your movie better be perfect if you spending all the time doing that shit. throwing little stuff in the background that people ain't gonna fucking notice at all. And you got plot holes and shit all over your goddamn movie and shit like that. People do that all the goddamn time. I'm not saying this movie does, but you know, if you gonna spend your time sneaking shit into the goddamn background or have all this symbolism everywhere that people ain't gonna fucking recognize, everything else better be fucking right on point. But anyway, the first thing that fucked me up is when you get to the point where the dude is playing this music and they got this little shit where apparently this dude has a fucking superpower or ability with his music to tear a hole in reality some kind of goddamn way to where it transcends time itself. And it's weird, and I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. You watch the movie, if you've seen it, you already know what the fuck I'm talking about. This motherfucker's playing the music, blah, blah, singing, and then all of a sudden, I'm watching this shit. This movie is set in the goddamn 30s, right? So I'm watching this shit, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, that's a dude right there with an electric goddamn guitar. What the fuck is going on here? And the camera is panning around the goddamn club, and this, you know, I'm seeing shit, and that shit, and even amongst this is shit that I don't see, because supposedly he's playing the music and it's transcending time, past and future. So, goddamn, man, this thing keep falling. Stop. Past and future. Now, some of the past shit that's supposed to have been in there, somebody said it, so I'm assuming that it's there, but that's some shit that I just wouldn't recognize. Why would I recognize some shit pre-1930s? You know what I'm saying? If they stuck that shit in there, I have no idea what the fuck was going on before then. But I do know what a goddamn electric guitar looked like when everybody in that goddamn club is acoustic. Then ain't no, matter of fact, it wasn't even no other instruments in that goddamn juke joint other than that dude and his guitar and that other somebody slim, the Lindo I can't even think, something Slim is his name. He ain't all that goddamn slim either. Delroy Lindo's character had a harmonica. I didn't notice any other instruments, but I saw that motherfucker with that goddamn electric guitar, and it wasn't just like an old electric guitar that you probably figured somebody would have way back when. This motherfucker had an electric guitar like he was in the P-Funk era. It was like, he had some funky ass outfit on. I'm like, that's not from this time period. What the fuck is this doing here? I'm watching the movie blind now, so this shit is throwing me the fuck off. And then they keep panning around, and then you see a motherfucking turntable. Now, I'm pretty sure, I think they had records and shit back then, but this was a turntable that you cutting, scratching shit on, and I'm like, hey. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And then they keep the camera keep panning around the club, and then they get to some modern shit. I think it's a motherfucker on the microphone. I don't know what the fuck he doing. And then you see some chicks twerking and shit, like today twerking. Now, you know, they did booty dances for a long ass goddamn time. You know what I'm saying? That's not new. You know what I'm saying? That's not new. But what they was doing was today's twerking with like some of today's outfits on. And then this motherfucker goes, and then the goddamn top of the club is on fire and burning and shit, and then all of a sudden it's just not. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It throws you off because you ain't gonna know what the fuck is going on until after you watch the movie, and then you go watch other content and you go be like, okay, because that's what I had to do. I had an understanding after. I was like, okay, that's what that was. All right. It's still seemed stupid in the movie to me. There's other people that was like thought it was cool. I'm like that seemed pretty goddamn stupid. It really does. It takes you out of the element of the movie. You're in a period piece in the 1930s, and all of a sudden you got motherfuckers with electric guitars and hip hop and twerking and shit in the middle of a goddamn juke joint where motherfuckers singing a goddamn blues song, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What the hell? And that's my and you gotta think. I'm watching a movie. I'm trying to get into the movie, and then this shit happens, and I'm just sitting there like literally my hand is on my head like this. Why was this a decision that was made? I'm trying to like this goddamn movie. At this point, they threw in the goddamn vampires already at this point, and I'm just like, hey man, shit, bring it. But they brought some other shit. I'm just like, but the thing is, I don't know that particular part of them. I don't know what, even now, I don't know what that has to do with the rest of the goddamn movie. Him being able to play some music that's tearing through time and space or whatever the fuck. It's just, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I have no goddamn idea. Because the rest of the movie is just like, I didn't see where that came into play. I really didn't. I didn't see where that came into play. Like I said, but a lot of this shit went right over my head. I didn't get an understanding of that shit until I watched, a breakdown of the goddamn movie. Now, the second thing that got me, you know what I'm saying, was some other. Now, before I get to that, because some other, it's not some shit that pissed me off, but it has to do with the vampires, because they had the juke joint was doing its thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a juke joint, and the previous vampire that I told you about that went to those white folks' house, he turned them. All three of them walked up to the juke joint. Now, Sammy is the one that was playing the blues and can do the time shit, space shit. I don't know what the fuck, whatever. He want to do that. Don't even know if he doing it, but it happens when when he was playing. And they came up there, and it was like, and this is the thing that got me. The dude came up there. They walked up to the door, and the bouncer stopped them, and they wanted to come in. The bouncer didn't want to let them in because this is a all black juke joint. You got 3 white folks out here just walking up trying to get in, and they were like, nah, we not, no. So they called for one of the twin brothers to come up there. They walk out there and try to see what's going on with them. And the thing that this is little shit that get me. They had these little guitars, right? I don't even know if you call them little guitars. They weren't banjos. I don't know. They weren't ukuleles, but they were like little guitars. All 3 of them had them. They was like, hey, we just want to come in and play and, and blah, blah, blah. So it was just funny to, and then the 3 white folks just standing out there, got these niggas sitting at the door, and they just sitting out there and they playing the goddamn singing this corny ass song about as white as you can get. All 3 of them. I don't know the goddamn song. It was the way that they was moving the guitars that they was doing in unison when they was playing. I don't know why that tickled me when they was doing it. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't think that was supposed to be funny, but it tickled the hell out of me. It tickled out of me the way they was moving the guitars when they was playing like this. Just as corny as I don't know what. And I noticed, I'm knowing that they the goddamn guitars. I mean, the vampires, and I'm just like, yeah, don't let them in. Because the black chick, the one that I thought was Viola Davis, that's who I thought that was at first. But like I say, she's out of that cast. She just dark skinned. But that chick is the one that got the hoodoo shit. So She was kind of wary of them motherfuckers. She's, you know, because these vampires, they can't come in unless you invite them in. That's some old school vampire shit right there. I kind of appreciated that. That they went like old school vampire. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no daywalker shit. It ain't no blade and all that. No, these are like old school rules vampires. Like from when I was a goddamn kid. A lot of people, young folks is watching this movie, that shit go right over their head. What the fuck you mean you gotta invite them? Yeah, that's how it used to be. That's how it was. A vampire couldn't just fuck you up, you know, if he couldn't, your door could be open. But he cannot come past that threshold unless you invite them in. I kind of appreciated that. They went old school with the rules. Some people thought it was corny. That's what it was. Like I say, I'm 50 years old. That's how it was when I was coming up. So this is like way back when. So why would the rules be any goddamn different from way back then? They following old school rules, motherfucker. This ain't no new school shit where vampires get to do whatever they want, walk outside with sunscreen on and all kind of other shit. Hell no. These motherfuckers follow old school rule vampire shit. And what happened, the thing that pissed me off was that I'm trying to see who got. Oh yeah, they wouldn't let those 3 white folks in. They wouldn't let the 3 white folks in. So they end up just walking off because they can't go in. Let's invite them in. Ain't shit they can do. So they went off and they sitting off somewhere off in the fucking woods. And you got this one chick who's partially black. You know what I'm saying? She's got black in her blood, and you know, we all know how that works. It don't take much black for you to be considered black. And they actually had a one drop law or some shit like that. And no matter how little black blood you got in it, if you got any, you're black. No matter what the fuck you look like. But she's like a white chick, and she's like that in real life. So you know she can play that role. You could tell by her. You could tell she got some black in her by how she talk. You know what I'm saying? It's funny. You could tell that actress has black in her. She's supposed to be like 1/8 black. But you could tell she's been around enough colored folks from the way she talks. You know what I'm saying? In this movie, just like if you was just listening to her talk, she don't sound all ghetto and no shit like that. It's just like it's just sometimes you can tell black folk from white folk just by listening to their voice. She sounds like a black chick. You know what I'm saying? Not no ghetto inflection or no shit like that. If you just listen to the tone of her voice, and like, she sound like a black chick. So, and you could tell she's passable white. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's that. So she's there at the party dealing with Stack. Smoke got the dark chick. Stack had the light skinned chick. The shit is confusing. I'm like, I thought this dude was like had like 2 women or some shit. I don't know, man. Anywho, it's kind of cheating because Michael B. Jordan got to have 2 love scenes, sex scenes in this movie with women, and with the 2 different characters. It's yeah, whatever. Cheating. I know what you did. Whatever. You did this on purpose, nigga. He did on purpose. Yeah, I'm gonna get. Ain't nobody else for to get. I'm gonna get that. For some reason, I like that black chick. That black chick seems comforting to me. I don't know why. What it is about the dark skinned chick, the one that Smoke was with, that she just seems comforting. I don't know. That's something I would go for. Anywho, forgot what the fuck I was talking about. It happens, man. Don't get old. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah. So the vampires, those 3 vampires, walk off, going about their business in the woods somewhere, and then that chick that I was telling you about, the partially black, the passable white chick in there, the one that was with Stack, she ended up at the party. well, at the juke joint. And she telling them something like, you know, well, let me go see what they trying to do. Because they might come back, they might not, blah, 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 blah. So, and this is going through my head as I'm watching this. I'm like, they finna get this bitch. Like, for real. I'm like, this heifer here, the whitest of the whitest of everybody in this goddamn movie, pretty much. This chick here is finna go do the whitest thing you could fucking do. Ain't no black folk for to follow them white folks out into the goddamn woods. Not for the fucking happen. Nope. Not for the fucking happen. That's one of the things that pissed me off in the movie. I was like, okay, here we go. We finna start with this right here. We finna get into the part of the movie where you have people doing dumb shit just to move the plot along. And that irritates the hell out of me. You can't figure out no way for people to keep shit moving without somebody doing something that's obviously dumb. So she gonna walk her ass out there with those three white folks and to chat them up about what it is they trying to do or what they want and all kind of other shit like that. And like I say, we know that they vampires. She the fuck don't know. But the fact is, you don't know them people at all. You ain't supposed to be walking out there in the middle of the goddamn night in the woods to go talk to them goddamn people. So long story short, they got her ass. You know what I'm saying? She and to her defense, she came prepared because she was like, okay, well, whatever the hell they talked about, she got up and walked off, and one of them said something and blah blah blah, and she was like, so she went out there strapped. So she didn't just go out there all willy-nilly. Now it was really white of her to go out there to start with, but she did go out there strapped, and when she felt like they was about to jump, she drew down on them, but you know, and then they was like, and she walked off, and they did some vampire shit. They didn't show it, but you know she got. Yeah. And then this gets to a point where stupid shit starts to happen. There's other stuff going on inside the club. I can't fucking remember. There's just club shit going on inside the club. The juke joint or whatever the fuck you want to call it. The white chick comes back. But at this point, she done been turned. So she comes back. And she's acting all weird and shit. You know what I'm saying? She's acting all weird and shit. And the dude that's watching the door, the big dude, Cornbread, I think his name was, she's walking in the club. He looking at her like, I didn't even know you left. You know what I'm saying? That's the look. He didn't say that, but he looking at her like, what the hell you doing out here? I thought you was inside, because he already had let her in. So, he ended up letting her in, even though she was acting kind of weird. And she goes in and starts talking with Stack. Man, this is confusing. She starts talking with Stack. And she entices Stack to go off into one of the rooms, and you know what I'm saying. So Stack gets it from her. You know what I'm saying? They had a little scene, and she's fucking Stack up. So Stack is gone at this point. Stack is the other Michael B. Jordan character brother, one of the brothers. If y'all follow that shit. So yeah, they had a little sex scene, and she fucks him up during that. And somebody's trying to get in. I think somebody's trying to get in, and God damn it, I can't remember. God damn it, I didn't watch the movie 3 or 4 times like a bunch of these other motherfuckers did. I watched it once, but yeah, somebody's at the front door. They go get the other brother, and they go to Smoke told somebody to go get Stack. And Stack is in there with the chick doing the nasty. So the other dude was like, I ain't going in there. He in there doing some shit. I'm not going over there. You know what I'm saying? You finna go interrupt it. You gonna tell I'm like a henchman. You finna sit me over here and interrupt this dude while he getting his. Nah, nigga, I ain't going over there by myself. You coming with me. So they go over there. And he was like, okay, fuck it. So the other Michael B. Jordan brother go to the door. He was like, all right, I'm coming in, get decent. He pushed the door open and the bitch is in there chewing on his goddamn neck. And of course that shocks every goddamn body. And that bitch hops up and like, it's not what it seems. A little evil, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like she trying to get out of it, but she's like, it's not what it seems. All bloody and vampire looking and shit. And what's his name? The fucking Stack is just on the floor, just like, oh. And they fuck, what the fuck happened? Oh, that the vampire chick, she did something, and Smoke was just like, he pulled out them 245s or whatever the fuck he got, and blah 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 blah, lit that bitch up about 9-10 times, and she just ran up out of there like ain't shit happened. She got shot, and she hauled ass up out of there. And this when the stupid shit started to happen. Of course, he's distraught because his brother, you looking at his brother down there, and everybody else saw that he just lit that bitch up 5-6 times and she just ran out of there like ain't nothing happened. And he's so distraught over looking at his brother that the dark-skinned chick was like, okay, we need to get the body out of here, because she's aware of vampires. She ain't never seen them before, but she's aware of them. Like she said, I've stories and shit like that. And she just saw this. She was like, she just lit this motherfucker up, and she just ran out of here like ain't nothing happened. And he was like, don't touch my brother. I'm just like, all right, we go with this shit. This motherfucker done got. I'm like, you just this motherfucker, and at this point, this motherfucker's like dead. She was like, we need to get the body out before he reanimates. You know what I'm saying? We need to get the body out. So, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Of course they didn't. This is the part of the movie where motherfuckers do dumb shit so shit can move along. So they close the goddamn door, leave them in there, and then they go out front to do some shit that I don't remember. And then after a little while, they hear Stack in the room, knocking on the door. Let me out. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. Now, this is the shit right here. We know that the vampires and shit as the audience, but some of the shit is just, the dialogue is obviously out of character. Like if you was going through this shit in real life, and somebody that shit happened to them, and they on the other side of the door, and this door is closed, and they trying to get you to open that door, and they talking to you in a way that's out of character, or just weird in some kind of goddamn way, you're not gonna open the goddamn door. After what you just saw. After you saw what you just seen, or whatever direction them words go in. You You know what I'm saying? You just saw this motherfucker laying on the floor dead. You just saw this motherfucker chewing on him get shot 10 times and didn't affect him none. And all of a sudden, this motherfucker is up in the room, moving around, talking and yelling at folks to open the door like ain't nothing happened. And the fucked up part about it, I don't know if he had like a spike or whatever, he, boom, and he spiked through the goddamn door. Like he was gonna try to break it down or some shit. Wham! The spike in the door. It left a little hole in the goddamn door. Now, they all saw this happen. They all saw this happen. Now, why the hell is motherfuckers sticking they fucking face up to the hole in the wall, in the door, right where this motherfucker had just stuck a spike through? Just, why would you do that? Two different people did that. He just stuck a spike through. What's stopping him from doing that shit again when you stick your face up against the goddamn door, dumbass? Why are you doing that? Well, I don't know. Shit is fucking ridiculous. The shit. I have to say, this is the part in the movie where dumb shit starts to happen. Piss me off. Really, really does. I hate when I see dumb shit happen. And then, I think this is right around the time where it was like, there was a Chinese lady and a Chinese dude in there. Which is really funny when I see a Asian person with a southern accent. I know they out there. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. But it's really funny because they, matter of fact, while I was watching the breakdowns or whatever, and you know they do different, had these different interviews from people. One of those, they was talking to this Asian lady that sounded like fucking Paula Deen. It's weird to see. It really is. It's real. It's a Chinese lady you're looking at, and it's Paula Deen coming out of her mouth, and she not doing an impression. That's how the fuck she talks, because she was raised in the fucking South. It's weird, but it's out there. It's whatever. It don't matter. If I was fucking, if me, as I am now, was born in fucking China and raised in China and came over here, I'd sound like a little Chinaman, motherfucker. When I come out, I'd be like, yeah, that's how the fuck I would sound. I wouldn't sound like this. Anyway. But that part pissed me off. And then he ended up getting out the room because he ended up just blam, knocking the fucking door down. And of course, somebody's face was right up against the goddamn door. I don't remember who. But right when because two different people put their goddamn face up against the door like fucking morons. And whoever was the second person had the door just got smashed on him. And he ended up out of there. And the Chinese lady and the Chinese husband and they was trying to get the fuck up out of there. And the Chinese lady said, yeah, we came here to help them with the party. You know what I'm saying? With the club and all this stuff. We didn't come here for this shit. Get the car so we can go. Well, fucked up part about that was a whole bunch of people probably got because when Stack got killed at first and they closed the door, they sent everybody home. Everybody got in their cars and left. Now, did all of them make it out? No. Apparently not. All of them made it out. As you would see at the end of the movie. Well, towards later on in the movie. Some probably made it out home or whatever the fuck without knowing what the fuck was going on. A bunch of them didn't. A bunch of them probably got picked off. Like the big doorman got picked off. You know what I'm saying? The doorman got picked off. He had to go take a piss in the woods, and they got him while he was out there taking a piss in the woods. So, yeah, there's that. But the Chinese, the husband, the Chinese lady was like, yeah, we need to go. But they didn't leave with everybody else. They you know, by the time they decide to go, parking lot is empty. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, yeah, go get the car, go get the car. So, and this is the 1930s, right? So, them goddamn vampires could have probably just ran and caught up with the goddamn car. They wouldn't go on no fucking way. Like, for real, the way they show them vampires moving, just, well, the one vampire they show move could have caught up with a goddamn car. I don't know about the rest of them. But anyway, he like, okay, okay, I'll go get the car. I'm like, at this point, they don't know the magnitude. You know what I'm saying? They don't know the magnitude. But they figure out the magnitude because the Chinese dude go out to get the car, and you already know once he walk out to get the car, they didn't show nothing happening to him, but you already know once he walked out the door to go get the car, that motherfucker is done for. He done. Those vampires gonna get him. He ain't whatever. So vampires come back to the fucking house. A little bit later, they had a little Chinese dude with them. And the Chinese dude, even that's what I was getting at. The dude that got caught, the big bouncer dude that went off in the woods to take a piss, he came back. Because he came back after all this shit happened. And they was like, well, where the fuck were you? He's like, man, I had to go in the woods, blah, blah, take a piss and outside. But even him, as he was talking, because there was a bunch of motherfuckers standing there, a group of the people, the little main black cast, was standing there at the doorway of the club. And dude was like, you go, yeah, well, shit, but let me in. And they was like, you know what I'm saying? They all, at this point, they all like, because he was acting all weird, and he was like, let me in. You're like, why you got to ask to come in? I was like, you the bouncer. Why the fuck you got to ask to come in? Because the hoodoo lady knows this. So she's questioning that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And the way he was talking is just off. To where it's like, ain't no way you would not, at this point, everything, you should be suspicious of anything, everything. At this point, ain't no way, the way that he was talking was all, it's like somebody just talking to you and all of a sudden they just trying to convince you of some shit, all of a sudden, out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It was out of character from what you've seen of him in the movie. It's just like, nah. He ain't him. That motherfucker dead. This is the vampire him. No. This ain't him. And he was like, well, you know, well, shit, but can I have my money? You know what I'm saying? So the dude was like, I don't know, they had a little back and forth, whatever, and then Smoke is gonna pull out some money, put it in his hand, which I wouldn't have done. I would have took out that money and threw it on the fucking ground, and you picked that shit up and gone about your goddamn business. So he was gonna put the money in the dude's hand, and the dude grabbed his arm and sort of bite the shit, and they ended up pulling it back and shooting him in the face. And of course that didn't do shit. And it was probably some effect on his face that I didn't, you know, some kind of vampire look on his face or some shit like that I couldn't make out because I can't see worth shit. But yeah, it was Dunzos after that. And then after that, vampires came back and they had the Chinese dude with them. And then it was at the door. They can't come in. And talking to the Chinese lady and the Chinese dude is talking to and it's like, the thing about it is they sitting there like they was talking to the vampire, trying to convince them to let him in. I'm like, why is this dialogue? Why is this going on so long? You know what I'm saying? Why is this going on so long? This is some I would do shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, that's not him. Close the fucking door. Why I'm not finna sit out here and have a whole goddamn conversation with you? Same thing when the Chinese dude came back and was talking to his wife, trying to convince her for them to let him in or for her to come out. And somehow these vampires have like a hive mind. So the lead vampire was down with the Chinese dude. Apparently, he knows what the Chinese guy knows. So, the Chinese guy was trying to convince his wife, to come out and all this other shit, or come in, or whatever the fuck they was doing. And then the lead vampire started talking and was telling her, he said, I know everything he knows. And he started speaking in fucking Chinese. You know what I'm saying? Because he know everything he knows. So he started speaking, saying he's told her he was going to get her daughter. Well, we just go and get your daughter from in town. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, I can see where that can move some people. But they had to restrain her. They're like, no, we're not doing that. It ain't shit you can do at this point. At least that's what I was saying. Ain't nothing you can do. And that's probably the sentiment of the people in there. It ain't shit you can do about it. You go out there, you dead. Plain and simple. If they decide to get your daughter, she dead. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? You walk out there, them motherfuckers gonna jump you, you gonna get turned. You know what I'm saying? And if you get turned and your husband is turned, what's gonna happen? Y'all eventually gonna get your daughter. Y'all gonna turn her too. So yeah, the motherfuckers are dead already. So yeah. And then they end up going off and then the second thing, is this a third? Another thing that pissed me off was this shit right here. They in the fucking thing, and this Chinese lady is in there she's just going at it. And they trying to figure out what the fuck they gonna do. They like, man, we just need to hold off here until daylight. Then we can get the fuck up out of here. And we figured the rest of this shit out. Well, they didn't say that, but it's just like, but basically that's the sentiment. That's all you can fucking do is wait till daylight, and then y'all can leave. Go back to town, do whatever, and you can call or do whatever the fuck you need to do. You know what I'm saying? But this Chinese heifer, this bitch, because at this point, that's what I'm gonna call her, because that shit just pissed me off. It was so dumb. They could have figured out another way to do this. Now the vampires are outside. They can't come in unless you invite them. Something as simple as that. They trying to hold this woman back. She's so angry and mad that they trying to hold her back, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah, just, come on in. Why don't we just come on in? And she ready to go. All the people, they done figured out how to fight the vampires. The hoodoo lady told them everything they needed. Because they went through a whole thing where they done made garlic water and made everybody eat garlic and to make sure that they weren't a vampire, which another part that fucked me up. It's always a bunch of shit that fucked me up. And it's always this motherfucker. Everybody in the fucking in there, I'm like, okay, we're gonna make sure everybody in here is not a vampire. So everybody, because they was cooking and all kind of shit in there, so they got all kind of garlic and shit like that in there. And everybody got a clove of garlic. You gotta eat it. Because like I say, this is old school rules, vampires. They don't fuck with garlic. So everybody had to get a piece of garlic and eat it. It's one black bitch. I don't like the taste of garlic. You ain't gotta like the taste. We trying to make sure that everybody in here ain't a vampire. We trying to keep your ass alive, stupid. And I'm just like, it's like me when I be watching videos, right? I be watching these videos online, and I don't like watching black folk test food. Black folks are the funniest eating people ever. Everything sucks. Everything. If they didn't cook it, it tastes like shit. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of. It's garlic. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it ain't gonna taste great eating it. You know what I'm saying? Garlic tastes good when you put it on shit and cook with it. It don't taste good either. I used to eat garlic raw, for health shit. Yeah, that's not all that goddamn pleasant. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you need to figure out if a motherfucker's a goddamn vampire, yeah, you just eat that shit and call it a day. And then she gonna eat and gonna be like, bitch, how about we just shoot you down? Huh? How about we just stick this stake in your heart right now and just get out, cause you trying to be difficult. And then the Delroy Lindo character, something Slim. I don't know why I can't remember his name. Mr. Slim. He ate the piece of garlic and he started, and then but I don't know. I think he was like, it was something with his throat or something from drinking a lot, and that garlic had fucked him up. And he was like, I'm okay. Because they made it seem like he was gonna turn out to be a goddamn vampire. So try to fake you out a little bit. But anywho, the part that pissed me off, it was something. Oh yeah, the Chinese chick was, the vampires heard her say, "Come on in here," and they was trying to hold her back and shit. She was like, "Yeah, come on in here," and because she had lit like a Molotov cocktail. She had lit a Molotov cocktail. Yeah, come on in. And the motherfuckers had opened the door, and she threw the Molotov cocktail at the vampire. And like, if you're going to throw a Molotov cocktail, you don't hit people with it. That's not how that works. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If you throw a Molotov cocktail, you throw it on the ground so the bottle breaks, and then boom, the flame jumps. She threw it at the goddamn vampire. He's like, "You stupid bitch." The vampire was like, he knocked that shit out. And the fucked up part about it is, she threw the goddamn vampire. She threw the Molotov cocktail, boom, and then the vampire knocked that shit to the side like, "What the fuck you doing?" And it broke and shit started catching on fire. And this bitch is the first one to die burning to death. Like right then. I don't know how the hell she caught fire that goddamn fast, but you know, I don't think anybody watching this movie felt sorry for her. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody in the movie felt sorry for her. Cause she invited them in there. She the one threw the Molotov cocktail to start the fire. Then she's the first person to die by instantly burning the goddamn death. That's what your ass get. So now you got this whole thing happening, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. And that's the shit that pissed me off. The next thing that pissed me off is later on in the movie, forget what the fuck is going on, and this is some other musical shit where all the vampires are out there, and it's all of them. So you can tell that they done caught up and killed a whole bunch of other people that was at the party, because there's a bunch of vampires out there. And we got this music going, and the vampires are singing some goddamn song and doing a goddamn river dance. I'm almost embarrassed that I know what the fucking river dance is. But the vampires out there doing their little leg kick, I can't do it myself, but and I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, I'm watching, like literally, I'm watching the movie and I'm just like, I'm trying to get into this, and this shit happens. I don't give a damn what goddamn relevance it has, because it has relevance. Like I said, if you watch the breakdowns of the movies and shit like that, they'll tell you the relevance because of the that lead vampire, because he's Irish, probably from Ireland. He's very old, so he ain't like a new young motherfucker. He just been around for a while. But you watching this motherfucker sitting here doing the guy, all the motherfuckers doing, sitting there doing that. First of all, the river dance just looks fucking ridiculous. Now, I'm not trying to insult no Irish people or no shit like that, but it looks fucking silly in this context. Let me put it like that. These motherfuckers is out here in the dark. I don't know where the music is coming from now that I'm thinking about it, because, well, they did have guitars, but I don't know where the music was coming from. It was the music. And there was like the motherfucker jumping, hopping and doing a fucking river dance and singing his shit. And I'm just like, this is fucking stupid. It is. This is stupid. This is some shit that knock you out. And I didn't feel bad about feeling that way when I was watching a review of the movie and they said the same exact thing. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? Even if you know the relevance of it, you're like, okay, I know the relevance of it. All right. You know, because this is, like I said, it's a lot of shit in this movie that go right over the fuck your head. It's just right over your head. You just won't know. If you watching a movie like I was, and these motherfuckers is out here hopping, doing the fucking river dance, singing some Irish song, the shit is out. I mean, it's out of fucking place. It really is. You know what I'm saying? It really is. And it can take you right out the fucking movie. And I'm just like, okay, this is silly as fuck. And it kind of fucks off the tone of the movie for me when I'm trying to get into it. That's one of the main reasons why I don't like the movie as much as other people. I don't dislike it. I ain't gonna say it's bad. I ain't gonna sit here and hate on the goddamn movie. But that first music scene, you know, with the time and space blues or whatever the fuck that is, and the twerking, yeah, that shit seemed a little bit out of place in this movie. And I know people did booty dances back in the goddamn 30s. That don't even, so yeah, whatever. But that wasn't the 30s booty dance. And that shit with the river dance, those are the two major things that just kind of threw me out the movie. That and that fucking river dance. And the way that the movie, the way that they kind of ended with the main vampire dude. Just, anyway, it was kind of cheap. Let's put it like this. Because Sammy was out there, he wasn't exactly fighting with the goddamn, they was out there tussling or whatever. The main and Sammy, the blues guy, you know what I'm saying? The one that the lead vampire was kind of after, because he had the ability to do the blues music thing. I don't know. And that's a point that I missed making earlier when he first got there. When they first was just the three, it was a chick and two dudes, the lead vampire. When they first got there, and all of them was sitting at the door, and Sammy was sitting there, out there with them at the door when they was trying to get in the first time. And he was like, yeah, you're the one with the basically he was like, you the one that with the voice that I heard singing and then blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, y'all just walked up. These dudes are just standing out here. How would you know that was him singing? You know what I'm saying? How would you know that was him singing? Because he didn't say anything. You weren't inside the club. You just walked up and be like, yeah, you the one with the little voice talking, whatever. Unless it was something that he can see as a vampire, he can see something in that dude some kind of goddamn way. But it wasn't no way for him to know that was him singing inside that club. It's one of them things like they do all the time on TV and in movies where somebody will be there talking. It'd be two people sitting there talking, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? And then somebody will walk in the room and comment on what the fuck they were saying. Like, you just walked in. How would you know what the fuck that they was talking about? You just walked in. You wasn't there long enough to hear enough to be able to comment on whatever the fuck they're talking about, unless you was sitting out the side the door listening. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. They do it all the time in TV. And I'm just like, how would you even know? They wasn't even talking loud enough for you to be able to hear from over there where you came from anyway. Come on now. Come on. Now, get out of here. And anyway, the way that he, I don't know, they was tussling or whatever. I don't know. They was like in some water or some shit, and it was just him and the main vampire, and the other vampires was like back behind them, doing whatever the fuck they was doing. And now that I'm thinking about it, those vampires probably fucked to start with. Anyway, let me see what happened. I'm trying to think what happened before, because they do a lot of shit that's happening simultaneously. Because they were showing Stack and Smoke tussling, because Stack had came back, so he was a vampire now. Him and his brother was fighting. They showed that for a while. They didn't show the conclusion of it. You know what I'm saying? They had some final words for each other, because Smoke had the vampire Stack on the ground, and they had some final words for each other. He was like, "I'm sorry I couldn't keep you safe." And he was like, "Yeah, you always did." And then, but then you go back to the other main vampire shit. And Sammy, which is the brother's cousin, I don't know what happened. But the thing that pissed me off is the cheap shit. The cheap shit. Oh boy, let me see. The cheap shit. I'm getting tired. Such and such had I don't know, he hit the vampire in the head with the guitar. It had like a little metal piece on it. Kind of acted like a blade, and chopped it way inside the goddamn vampire's head. And then all the other vampires was like, ah! And I'm like, so he hit the main vampire in the head, and all the rest of the vampires felt that shit. Kind of immobilized them too, because they was all like, ah, and I'm just like, what? The fuck was that? That hasn't been established at all in the movie, that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? It really, I mean, it really hadn't. Does that only happen when the main vampire? I don't know. I have no idea. That was I'm still trying to figure that part out. I'm just like, that's some silly shit right there. I ain't never noticed. I don't know about that. I know about the other vampire rules. This one I don't know about. This one I do not know about. So yeah, I don't know about hitting the main vampire and then all the rest of the vampires feeling the main vampire's pain and shit. And what happens was, while they was doing all this other shit, the main vampire was there. And of course, the sun started coming up right then. Which is why I said all those vampires probably would have been fucked, because y'all all standing outside willy-nilly dealing with whatever the fuck y'all dealing with right now. The sun is like right over the trees. So right after this shit happened, after he hit the vampire in the head and shit like that, the vampire pulled the goddamn thing out of his head, because apparently that wasn't gonna kill him. But it did hamper him quite a goddamn bit with your head split way the fuck open like that. And then the sun starts coming up, and then motherfuckers start burning up, catching on fire, and then of course the main vampire didn't die like everybody else. He fucking tornado flame or whatever the fuck that shit was, and I'm just like, so apparently now, that shit happened, and I'm just like, oh man, just. And then they go back to the beginning of the movie, because the beginning of the movie show you a point in time after this shit happens, with the dude with the piece of guitar he got left walking into his dad's church all fucked up. So at the beginning of the movie, you already know some shit for to jump off. Where this is end off at. Now, they didn't show this, but what apparently happened was when Smoke and Stack was fighting, well, nobody killed. They didn't kill each other. Smoke, you know what I'm saying, took his little brother and probably put him in the juke joint. You know what I'm saying? Put him in the juke joint. You know, so he didn't get caught by the daylight. I don't know if he got hit with that head thing or not with the rest of the vampires, but he got put in the juke joint. They didn't show this. I don't know if they said it, but apparently that's what happened. That's the only thing that could have happened, because they was fighting, you know, right before the end of all this shit, and the sun came up. And the white chick, you know, the first of them to get fucked off, but not the first of them to get fucked off, the one that went out there to talk to those three motherfuckers in the woods and they got our ass. Well, apparently she ended up probably in the juke joint too, because they show up later. So they didn't die, you know. And that kind of goes with, if you pay attention to what, you know, some of the dialogue in the movie, like I say, Smoke was always looking after his twin brother to keep him safe, but that's what he did. Now, and on the flip side of that, Stack, who apparently, I say apparently didn't want to have much to do with Mary, the mulatto, it's probably not a mulatto, whatever, the passable white black chick, you know what I'm saying, that was with them, because they had a thing. He didn't want to have nothing to do with her, because it wasn't really good for her to be around him, because he's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? That was his thing. He didn't want her around him because, you know, really nothing good could come out of it. He's dangerous. You better off where you at. Even though she was insistent on being with him. But that was one of the revelations that he told her, is that I'm looking out for you. Now this wasn't his words verbatim, but that's what he basically told her. I said, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking out for you. Me pushing you away is me doing good for you. So it's somehow he ended up doing the same. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, they didn't show this in the movie, at least not that I noticed. She probably ended up in the juke joint with him once the sun came out. And then the shit get kind of disjointed after this, which the black chick, the hoodoo chick, well, she ended up, while they was end up tussling early on, she ended up getting bit, and she told him, she was like, look, if I get bit, stake to the heart. You know what I'm saying? And I think they had a thing where if either one of them got bit, stake to the heart. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be no goddamn vampire. I got somebody waiting for me on the other side. You got somebody waiting for you on the other side. And, you know what I'm saying? I ain't, you know, I'll never get there if I end up turning into a vampire. Because those souls are kind of trapped. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. She ended up getting bit, and he had to kill her, which was, that was kind of sad. So he had to put a stake in her heart, to kill her. And then afterwards, he ended up with his brother and shit. But, you know, tussling and did that whole thing I just told you about. Old boy ended up in the church with his dad, preacher, whatever, and he wanted trying to decide whether he's gonna be in church or play the blues, some shit I didn't care about. I really didn't. At that point, I didn't give a fuck. And then they go back to Smoke, and Smoke is at the juke joint, I think, because that vampire told him, he was like, look, because those vampires they're weird vampires. They are bad, but not necessarily like evil, but they not good for you at all. It's kind of weird like that, you know. But I mean, they are evil, but they not. I don't know. You figure that shit out. I don't know. He told him, he was like, yeah, because they bought the property. You know what I'm saying? They bought a property from this dude to build this juke joint on for. And that vampire told her, yeah, them guys that you bought their property from, they gonna kill you. They was gonna always come back and kill you. You know, you bought the property from them, they was gonna come back and kill you. So what he did, you know, he was at the property. It was daylight now. Well, the vampires are dead at this point, so it really doesn't matter. But and he apparently they had something that I missed in the movie, that I think those two brothers were like veterans. I know they showed that they were like gangsters. They worked for gangsters in Chicago, and apparently they worked for two different gangsters. One worked for the Italians, and the other worked for Irish. And it was just, like I said, it's a lot of shit that just go to fuck your head. One like Al Capone and some shit, just whatever. They ended up probably stealing a whole bunch of shit and making their way back down south with it, and then they was gonna take that, flip that shit around, and make their little fortune or whatever the fuck they was gonna do with the juke joint and stuff. But anywho, Smoke is contemplating shit. He got the trunk. They had a trunk of old war weapons. You know, they was in the army or whatever, and then they brought some shit with them. You know what I'm saying? Different rifles and grenades and shit. And like I said, this part seemed a bit unnecessary in the movie. It seemed out of place. Because at this point, you would think the movie would be over with. No, it's not. Because you got Smoke, he's sitting here. He's kind of waiting on those Klansmen to show back up. So they was going to come back and kill him. They was going to come back and kill him. So he was like, okay. So he set up he set himself up. The Klansmen came back looking for him, knocking on the door, whatever fuck. And he in the woods with his little weapon, blah, 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 start picking them off and shit. They had to find a way to stick their little action piece in there like that. At this point, that part of the movie just seemed unnecessary, whatever. But he killing Klansmen, everybody can hop on board with that, right? Then he he knocking motherfuckers off with the ball. Then boom, he go get the run. He got the fucking automatic rifle or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Just knocking motherfuckers off. And he the other main Klansman, the one that he was dealing with earlier, you know, he done caught a couple of bullets. He laying on the ground like, and then, but in doing all that shooting, this motherfucker caught a bullet right here in the side. well, y'all can't see my side, but right, he come, and of course, you know, and he pull up his shirt to look at. He put up the shirt so you can see his abs, right? Because they don't show, you don't get to see much of Michael B. Jordan like that in this movie. But they had to add in one shot. He put up his shirt so you can see his abs and that hole in his goddamn gut right here on the side. And he finished doing what he gonna do. He talking to the little Klansman. The Klansman asked him for a cigarette or some shit. You got a cigarette? Klansman say some smart ass shit to him or whatever, but the Klansman end up giving him a pack of fucking cigarettes and he light that motherfucker, smoking it. And he falls down on his, you know, on his butt. At that point, it's just, okay, that was a death fall. At that point, because he was just standing up, you know what I'm saying? You know, looking at the Klansman or whatever. And then he just plops down. Blap. I was like, yeah, that's a death fall right there. And I said, yeah, he out of it. He ain't gonna make it. And then he got the cigarette, and this motherfucker is looking over to the side. And this is some shit, you know that you know, if you listen to the movie. And the black chick is there. Now apparently, you know, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know he's seeing shit. So he look over. The black chick, she's sitting over there with her titty out, nursing. And she said something to him about the cigarette. So he was like, and she was like, I don't want to get no smoke on him. It was funny. I was like, oh, and he was like, and then he ended up, I don't know if that Klansman said something, but he picked up the machine gun and just fucked the guy, just finished off the Klansman. Put the rifle down, cigarette down, and he reaches over and grabs the baby from the ghost chick. And he's sitting there holding it. And then they go back to the ghost chick, and I am disappointed that her titty ain't still out. Because her titty was out when she did this shit, and then you go back over, and that titty is totally covered back up, and I'm just like, really? Give me something. I just got to see this nigga abs with a hole in his goddamn gut. I can't see a titty. Y'all showing motherfuckers eating pussy and shit. I can't see a goddamn nipple. Anyway, I don't know. That chick was black as hell, so I'm not sure if you would have saw the nipple anyway. Her titties is black, probably just as dark as the nipple. Anyway, so they show him holding a baby, and then, well, at that point you be able to put it together when they was talking before they had the showdown with the vampires, and there was like, you know, if I get bit or whatever, stake to the chest. You know what I'm saying? Because I got somebody waiting for me on the other side, and you got somebody waiting for you on the other side. I didn't put the shit together until then. I was like, they lost the baby together. It's not a real big revelation, you know what I'm saying? But you know, when I was like, oh, that's what that was. Because you hear shit during the movie, it don't mean nothing at the time. I got somebody waiting for me on the other side. Like, well, shit, we all do, huh? We all got family and shit, you know what I'm saying? But now, you know, she had lost the baby with him. The baby had died, and at some point in the movie early on, it was referenced at some point. I wouldn't have. That's some shit I would miss. I'm pretty 100% sure that it is referenced somewhere in the movie. That he had a little kid that died, a little baby that died, infant that died. But whatever. Like I said, a lot of that shit all that shit gonna go right the fuck over my head to start with. And then that was it. He dies. Now, You think the movie I went, nope. 60 years in the goddamn future. 60 years later, they go to Sammy. Sammy's in this club. He an old ass man now, but he's a blues dude. You know what I'm saying? And he in his little juke joint. I guess the juke joint is probably about closing time or some whatever the fuck. And the bouncer like, we got 2 people out here. You know what I'm saying? When he, you know, I guess they said, I don't know if they asked for him specifically. He was like, yeah, that means shit. Because they can't come in unless they invited. You already know who it is. It's Stack and Mary, 60 years later. Because they didn't die with the rest of the vampires. So they come in, it's 60 years later, it's like 1992 or some shit. So they come in, and they, of course, they wearing 1992 style clothes, which is fucking hilarious. I'm like, was we dressing like that in 1992? Oh my goodness. I was in high school and didn't have much, I didn't have a whole lot of clothes back then, so I know I wouldn't. But he came in there with this fucking Bill Cosby sweater on and some jeans and some glasses and whatnot. He was on point though. That was dressed. You know what I'm saying? But it was the funny part though. He came up in there and they was talking to him and he was like, hey. And, you know, he recognized when they walked through the fucking door. And they Stack had offered. You know, say, hey man, you know, he was kind of like, you kind of tell it was getting close for Sammy to check out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you know, vampires can smell when you about to die, but whatever, he was like, yeah, you smell death on them or whatever the fuck somebody said, I don't know. But I'm like, you say, yeah, I can help you with that. You can bite them, your turn. You say, you ain't got to worry about that. You'll be around forever. And it was like, he was like, yeah, I think I done seen enough of this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. I ain't trying to stick around forever. And they didn't fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? They didn't fuck with him. They was like, okay. Well, you wouldn't expect them to, because that's his cousin, that's his family. So he ain't finna go in there and go all over that dude. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing was that I'm like, they made it out of that shit. And they've been out there doing whatever the fuck they've been doing. Because it seemed that you know, that they was kind of supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Mary wanted. You know what I'm saying? And, well, I mean, Stack didn't have to worry about trying to keep us safe no more. They were both vampires at this point, so they could just be together and do each other. And they was, you know, arms around each other and all kind of shit. And it was that part kind of redeemed it for me. You know what I'm saying? I think it was another part of the movie that after that, but I didn't stick around for after that. But I was satisfied with that because I was like, I'm still sitting there like, they made it. You know, even as vampires. And I was like, I don't want to think about what the fuck they was doing all this time as vampires. I'm pretty sure they found a way to, they've been around for like 60 years at this point. You know what I'm saying? They've been around for like 60 years at this point. And if you looking at him, that dude is like, he got a little sheep shaved up and, you know what I'm saying, got a little, all this is trimmed and clean clothes and all this other shit. So, vampire-wise, they doing well for each other. They probably adapted quite well. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know exactly. Somebody said, what? I think Sammy had said, you know, all that shit that happened back there, that day was the best day of his life. Not the whole vampire shit, but everything that happened before that. Because he got reunited with his cousins. You know what I'm saying? And then he got to go in and play the club, do what that's what he wanted to do. Go in there and bloop, 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 bloop. He was like, that was the best day of my life. That day was the best day of my life. That's when that shit opened up for him, because that's, you know, playing the blues. That's what he wanted to do. That's what the first time he got a chance to do it. And I think he asked Stack, you know, well, what about you? And he was like, for sure. He was like, he started going over some shit that happened that day, and he was like, yeah, that's the last time I saw the sun. Like literally, because that night is when everything jumped off. That day was the last time he saw the sun, because you're a vampire, you can't see the sun no more. That shit is out. So I'm like, and they left, went on, take care of their little business, get back inside before daylight. I don't know what kind of living arrangements they got and shit like that. You've been around for 60 years, looking the goddamn same. That gotta be goddamn weird. You know what I'm saying? But you know, apparently they doing well. But I was thinking about that. That's kind of funny, because after I watched the movie, that's all I'm thinking. I'm like, what? All right, as a vampire, and you can't go outside during the day, or else your ass start burning the fuck up. Kind of like summer here in Houston. You know what I'm saying? You walk outside, you're like, you gotta go back in the fucking house. It's not that far from the truth, trust me. Oh my goodness. And I can just imagine anywhere they get hotter than here, because Houston ain't the hottest. There's other hotter places than Houston, and Houston is fucking miserable. Shit. Yeah, and I'm just like, how are they making it? You know, as far as money-wise, are they robbing motherfuckers? Because, I mean, it's vampire. I'm like, I'm assuming you have to feed semi-regularly. You know what I'm saying? You got to feed semi-regularly. So you're feeding on somebody, something. Look, I don't know. That's not part of the movie. That's some shit that I be thinking about afterwards. So I'm just like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I need to know how y'all do this shit, because you never know. I might get bit by a vampire. I need to do some goddamn research on how to survive. Just because I get bit, I need to know what the fuck to do. But that's it, man. That's it. That's the goddamn movie. That was my thoughts on the movie, and the parts that stuck out to me that I had a reaction to. It's a lot of shit in between that I don't recall, and a lot of shit in between that actually means stuff that went right the fuck over my head. It is. It just right the fuck over my head, and I'm just like, Matter of fact, when I turn this video here off, I'm gonna lay down on my futon over there to take my ass to sleep. And there's one other review on Sinners that I'm gonna at least have playing until I fall fucking asleep, and see what else I done missed in this movie, because there's plenty I done missed in this movie. And then I want to see if other people kind of agree on some of my points and stuff like that. Not that I'm looking for people to hate on the movie, but it's just certain shit that I just don't want to feel alienated on. The Riverdance part is just, I already got my validation on that. I'm like, okay, I already ran across somebody that was like, what the fuck is this shit? And they didn't mind the other music shit with the time space shit, and I'm just like, well. But the Riverdance shit, that shit was just silly. I'm sorry. But that's it, man. That was Sinners. If you hadn't seen it, see it. Probably should say that at the beginning of this video, but anyway, watch the goddamn movie. You know what I'm saying? Watch the goddamn movie, and you're probably gonna end up watching it several times. I probably won't watch it again. I done watched enough reviews and breakdowns on the movie where I done watched the movie at least twice already. So, I done watched the movie 2 hours long, and I done watched 2 hours of content on the movie already. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, people. I'm for the shut it down.